For 5 centuries, technology focused on replacing human muscle. The pulley, the steam engine, and the industrial robot were all designed to automate physical labor. But now, for the first time in our history, the ultimate target of this automation is human intellect. We have been told that artificial intelligence is simply a collaborative tool. The prevailing narrative is that these systems will augment existing workers, handling the repetitive tasks so that humans can move into more creative, high-value roles. However, the people designing this technology are preparing for a different outcome. Behind the marketing of augmentation, the leading research labs are engineering systems specifically designed to handle the core functions of cognitive labor without human intervention. This transition marks a point where technology stops assisting the worker and starts replacing the necessity of the job itself. When a machine can handle the cognitive core of a role, the human being is no longer an essential part of the production cycle. Historically, technological revolutions followed a predictable pattern. During the 19th century, industrial looms displaced weavers, but the increased productivity created a demand for new workers to manage factories and shipping lines. Because early automation was limited to physical output, the workforce moved into the office. Humans became the essential operators of the early computer systems, shifting their value from their hands to their ability to process information and manage logic. This chart tracks prime-age male labor force participation in the United States. Since its peak in 1953, the demand for human labor has been on a slow, structural decline, driven by waves of manufacturing automation and offshoring. But as cognitive automation arrives, that gradual slope turns into a sharp drop. The safety net of office-based work is beginning to fray as machines move into the roles once thought to be exclusively human. Replacing the brain breaks the economic cycle of job destruction and creation. If a machine can learn new skills at the same rate as a human, the displaced worker has no new industry left to retreat to. We are now seeing the emergence of the one-person unicorn. These are billion-dollar startups that generate massive value while employing a human staff that could fit in a single room. The image generator Midjourney is a clear example. By late 2024, it was generating roughly $200 million in annual recurring revenue. It reached that scale with a total human team of only about 10 people. The coding tool Cursor pushes this ratio further. With a staff of 20, its revenue surged to $300 million. That's $15 million for every human on the payroll. Instead of scaling their workforce to handle growth, they are scaling their use of AI agents. For the first time, economic growth has detached from human employment. Businesses can now achieve massive scale without ever needing to expand their human staff. The window to address this shift is narrowing. Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, has provided one of the most specific timelines for the automation of professional work. Amodei suggests that AI models could be capable of handling the entire software engineering profession from end to end within the next 6 to 12 months. Microsoft's AI chief, Mustafa Suleyman, has issued a similar warning for the broader white-collar market. Suleyman predicts that most professional, computer-based tasks, including legal, accounting, and marketing work, will be fully automated within 18 months. These operational timelines represent the internal roadmaps of the people building the technology. They establish a specific deadline for the global labor market. Critics of this timeline often point to the Klarna effect. In early 2024, the fintech firm Klarna replaced hundreds of customer support roles with AI, only to face a drop in service quality and a quiet reversal to rehire human agents. While the Klarna experiment showed that AI isn't a perfect replacement for human judgment yet, the failure appears to be a temporary setback rather than a long-term reprieve for workers. To see where this leads, we can look at the dark factory. These are manufacturing facilities so automated they require no human presence. Modern factories run by companies like Fanuc operate in total darkness because machines do not need light to work. Physical labor reached this point of total autonomy after decades of refinement, and cognitive labor is now following the same trajectory. Early friction in AI adoption does not stop the trend. It simply marks the transition phase before cognitive tasks move into these same dark, autonomous environments. This feedback loop creates the foundation of a post-labor economy. As AI is used to design the next generation of chips and write the code that trains more powerful models, the system begins to improve without human input. This recursive self-improvement targets the final engineering bottlenecks. As the loop accelerates, the need for human oversight in the development process disappears. Historically, the social contract relied on a specific balance. Corporations and elites needed human labor to build wealth. This dependency gave the working class the leverage to demand wages, rights, and a share of the productivity gains. But in a system where production no longer requires human effort, that leverage evaporates. If the population is no longer essential to the creation of wealth, it loses its ability to demand the resources necessary for survival. This shift eliminates the primary tool the public has used to negotiate with the state and corporations. Without the need for human labor, the power to demand a share of the wealth effectively disappears. There are proposed solutions to this crisis, such as universal basic income, digital agency indexes, and smart contracts to protect human rights. But implementing these changes requires a level of political leverage that is rapidly vanishing. We can see the danger of waiting too long in the history of the Luddite Rebellion. During the Industrial Revolution, skilled textile workers attempted to protest the machines that were displacing them. The Luddites failed because they began their protest after the technology was already deployed. By the time they tried to negotiate, their labor was already redundant, and their leverage was gone. With an 18-month timeline approaching, the window to negotiate a new social contract is closing. We are currently in the final period where human labor still holds enough value to demand structural change. The first AI job extinction is already underway. We have a brief opportunity to renegotiate our role before our collective leverage goes completely dark.